Hello again, friends and loyal Wolfpack members. Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to the Elite Dangerous 2.2.03 beta server. And what we're going to be having a look at now is the changes to the blueprints for the Railguns, and just to see how they go and affect certain aspects of these weapons. So first of all, we're going to go and have a look at the Grade 5 high capacity magazine. And there has been quite a substantial change to this modification. And this is it. The ammo clip size, originally this could range from anything between 50% to 100%. And as you can well imagine, with the Imperial Hammers, that would get a little bit interesting. Especially considering that those weapons would fire off a 3-round burst with each shot. So that's kind of nice to see that we're going to be increased by a flat 100%. So it's going to work very well for those. The maximum ammo capacity is basically the same thing, where it's 50 to 100% now, because that's not a massive issue, as long as the clip itself is a consistent size. Now the mass increase has stayed the same, the reload time modifications here has stayed the same, and the power draw has stayed virtually the same, apart from it seems to have gained a little bit more of a spread. Originally it was 29 to 39, now it's 31 to 40. So actually it seems to have gained a little bit less of a spread, I feel. Yeah, it's gained 1% less of a spread, so that's actually not too bad. And the next thing we want to basically have a look at is every time we go and have a look at each of these high capacity magazines, every single time the ammo clip size is increased by 100%. So that's for every single one, not just the grade 5. Next, it's time to have a look at the lightweight mounts. Now, there have been some changes here. The mass reduction has actually been increased from anything from 50 to 90%, whereas before it was 40 to 75. So the same as with every one of the lightweight mount modifications. Integrity, that's been changed to 40 to minus 40 to minus 61, from minus 31 to minus 50. And instead of having reductions to damage per second and damage, yes, I know they should really be rolled in together, they have now got reductions to power draw and distributor draw, which might be quite nice for railgun weapons, because they are quite heavy on the power draw and the distributor draw. So this might be a far more appealing modification now, since they've added these two modifications here. Now the next one is the long range weapons, and this is basically just changed the same as with every other of the long range weapons. What's happened is they've changed the maximum range from 50 to 100%, from 40 to 81. And basically everything else is roughly the same, apart from the damage and damage per second have been, well, basically the overall reductions have been reduced, because they were originally both 12 to 20% reductions. Now they're only 10 to 15, so that's not too bad. The mass change has changed as well, in fact. Originally it was 14% to 39% increase, but this has gone from 20 to 50, and they've completely gotten rid of the excessive, the increase to the distributor draw, which is nice to have, because like I said before, these weapons are extremely heavy on your distributor. But the power draw is still here, the power draw increase even is still here, and that's been increased from the original one of 10 to 14% to 14 to 20%. So you're always going to get at least the worst of what it was previously. Right, so the next one is the short range blasters. This is the same as usual. The range reduction is minus 75 to minus 50%, same as it was previously. Although the increase to damage and damage per second has been increased, because it was originally 20 to 39 on both of these. Now it's actually 20 to 45, so that's an extra 6% you can get on either of those, so that's very nice. Again, they've removed the additional distributor draw, because that was just going to cripple these type of weapons and these type of modifications. So I suspect Frontier are trying to get more people to use these. Now the thermal load, that has not been changed at all, that's still 39 to 50. And the integrity has been changed only ever so slightly. Originally it was 31 to 40. Now it's 30 to 40, so it's like a 1% difference. And last but by no means least, we've got the sturdy mounts. Now these have changed a little bit as well. but it's the same as all the other ones. Basically, the mass increases stayed the same, but the integrity has been doubled from basically 50 to 125 to 100 to 250. So that's quite nice. The extra armor piercing stays the same at 20 to 45%, but they have actually added the reduction to thermal load, which I suspect would also be very, very nice to these weapons. Because you're not gaining any extra distributor draw, but you are gaining a reduction to thermal load. Oh yes, and let's not forget the high capacity magazine. I actually think this is going to be the most useful. So anyway, let's go and preview this outcome. So no surprise there, 100% increase on the ammo clip size, so that's going to be great. Armor piercing's already gone up, so yeah, that's nice. But let's go and have a look at the experimental results. So here we have the plasma slug, and what this is an experimental upgrade that allows ammo to be generated directly from your fuel. So it's exactly the same as what we now have on the plasma accelerators. So this is going to allow you to basically have limitless ammunition as long as you have fuel. So it's going to be less useful on the smaller ships with smaller fuel tanks and really useful on the larger ships. So think anything Python or larger, or even the Federal ships even. Those could do fairly well with this, because you could just also put an additional fuel tank inside, and that'll make this useful. But this does actually reduce the damage a little bit. The next is Super Penetrator, and this is the one I was talking about previously, because what this does is it allows the shell to penetrate and damage all modules along its trajectory. So instead of just damaging one internal module, it basically draws a straight line through the ship. Anything that it hits, it damages. So that's interesting. And it's going to cripple a lot of larger ships, or even some smaller ships if you actually manage to hit it in the right angle. The last one here is Feedback Cascade. Now this is really quite nice, because what this does is when you are firing at a ship that is using its shield cell banks, it will damage the shield cell bank and reduce the shield restoration at the cost of reduced damage from smaller rounds. So, in other words, it's going to stop people from spamming shield cell banks so much, because what's going to happen is you're going to shoot at them, they're going to have been charging up, it'll kind of pretty much just stop them dead in the water from recharging their shield cells. So that's interesting. But this is going to be very nice as well. So if you're not going for, well, even if you are going for the expanded ammo capacity, Plasma Slug can still be useful. It just means that the maximum ammo is completely null and void. But especially with the Imperial Hammers, the increase to the actual clip size itself is still going to be counting towards this. So that's very nice to know. So what I'm going to go and do now is I am going to go and modify very quickly these two Imperial Hammers that I have, so that we have 100% extra ammo capacity in each clip. And I'm just going to go and see what happens when we fire them. So here we are back outside Quent Research Base. We're just going to go test this out, because as you can see, we've actually got a clip size of 6 with these Imperial Hammers. Now, the rest of the ammo doesn't really matter all that much, but what we want to see is whether or not these Imperial Hammers go and fire more rounds per burst or not. So let's give them a quick go. Spin them up.
Warning.
Ooh.
Warning. Taking heat damage.
Yeah, okay. That was a little interesting, going from completely idle to completely just blasting through to over 130% heat. So let's give that a quick try again. So let's just let our heat settle once more. Now this ship is certainly not optimized for heat or anything. I have not modified anything bar the Imperial Hammers. So there we go, we're at 36% heat. Let's hold that down again.
Warning. Temperature critical.
Whoa, over 160. But either way, that meant we went and fired 6. Well, actually, technically we fired 12, 6 for each of the Imperial Hammers in very, very quick succession. So that's going to be doing a lot of damage to enemy ships. Now, this might be quite nice to have on larger ships like the Anaconda or the Corvette. Smaller ships like this are not going to be able to deal with the heat quite as much. Alrighty, so we're back outside again, because I've just quickly remodified these Imperial Hammers with the plasma slugs. So as you can see, instead of actually having any ammo capacity, it just says clip size 6, rest of it doesn't really matter. Because the great thing about this is you can actually go and modify this up to a grade 1 increased ammo capacity, and then put the plasma slugs on there. Yes, you'll be losing 2 ranks with the engineer if you have to go and adjust the thing, but basically what it means is you're going to have a 100% increase to your clip size, so a clip size of 6 at the least amount of materials. So that's very, very interesting. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to go and just fire these off again quickly. I've basically had to just go and turn off a bunch of my ship systems because they just cannot cope. So anyway, let's go and try this out.
Warning, temperature critical.
Whoa. Yep, so that is really cool. I'm really curious to see just how much of our fuel that takes up, because it seems to be that it's taken up over half of our little fuel tank at the top, just down here. So let's try that again.
Warning, temperature critical. Warning, taking heat damage.
Yep. And if we just keep firing, you're going to have to bear with me because we are going to be extremely hot from this.
Warning, temperature critical.
So there we go. We've done all that, and as you can see, yes, we're really, really, really hot.
Taking heat damage.
Okay, so we finally cooled down enough for the alarms to stop going off. But as you can see, from just firing those few short bursts, we went seriously hot. This ship's not really designed for this, but that's not the point. What we wanted to see is just how much fuel we've used. We've used a fair whack. We've used about 10% of our fuel just for that. So, like I said, this is not going to be very viable for smaller ships. And this is one of the smallest, so obviously that's not going to be the best course of action. But anyway, let's get back inside and just let's think about the changes to these weapons. So anyway guys, what do you think about how these changes are going to be affecting the railguns? Now, they're not going to be having as big an impact as other changes, namely the plasma accelerators, because those things are sweeping changes. They're going to be wreaking havoc everywhere. These ones, not so much. But I really do like the fact that you can go for plasma slug, just go and upgrade your weapon to a grade 1 increased ammo capacity, put the plasma slug on there, and then everything else doesn't matter. So that's insane. What do you guys think about that? Because I think that is kind of really interesting. Although, obviously, putting it on a ship this small is not the best course of action. So obviously this ship was not really designed for that, and it's not even really suited to this at all. It was just a proof of concept. So let me know down in the comments what you think about these changes. But that's going to be it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Like the video if you've liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Neither of those good enough for you. Like I said, leave me a comment. Anyway guys, you can always go and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, or go and check out any of the videos popping up on screen now. I've been Commander Chaos Wolf from Sci-Fi Gaming. You guys have been epic. I will see you soon. And until next time, my fellow commanders, keep flying and stay shiny.